My name is Francina. My maiden name is Gibson, and my married name is Simmons. So, and I've been here at Calvary Fellowship. I came here as a teenager, I guess when I was about maybe 15 or 16 years old. And I came to this church. I was born in South Carolina, Summerton, South Carolina, Clarendon County. My father, Johnny Gibson, was the overseer on Reverend J. DeLane's property, part of his property. He was the manager, the overseer on his property. And so that's how we were introduced to Reverend DeLaine. And I guess when he became very active in the civil rights activities down there, when he became part of the NAACP, my father was one of the original ones that signed the petition. There's 20 petitioners that had to sign in South Carolina, in Clarendon County. My father was one of those people. And due to that, he was put on the blacklist, and he was not able to get any kind of credit. He was not able to farm his property, and because in those days you had to borrow money, you had to have an account at the supermarket, you had to have an account at the dry goods store, and when you had your crop in, you paid it back. You paid back whatever you might need to borrow. But he was on the blacklist. He couldn't do any business in Clarendon County. So I had older sisters who were already here in New York, so my father moved the family from South Carolina to Brooklyn, New York. And Reverend DeLaine came to Calvary Fellowship AME Church, and we came here as well. So that's how I wound up here at Calvary Fellowship. They were trying to, I believe, desegregate the schools, get separate but equal. That's what we're trying to get equal, because the white kids had buses, and they were able to ride the school bus, and we had to walk. So we were trying to get, the law was at that time that we could not be with them. So it was separate. So we were trying to be separate but equal with them. At least have a bus so we could ride to school as well. When he came to New York, he came to really because they were trying to arrest him. He was not allowed to go back to South Carolina. It was warrant out for his arrest. So he came to New York. He was trying not to. He was getting away from the arrest warrant that was in South Carolina. So here he was still preaching equal, that we deserve better than what we had. And he was just trying to encourage people to vote and do whatever they could to further the cause of black people in this country.
As a child, I also was very sensitive to the fact that we were second-class citizens. The thing that we had was a requirement that you recited the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States at the opening of school. And as a youngster at that time, I always thought this was a farce. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Because I knew that I was pledging to something that I did not have, and I did not see it being given to me in the foreseeable future.
Of the few things I remember, one of the most vivid that I remember is going to a store in Columbia and seeing water fountains, one marked white, and then a little dinky thing over in the sign marked colored. And whenever I thought nobody was looking, I'd sneak over to the white fountain to see what white water tasted like.
These were uneducated people, but by no way dumb or ignorant. They just had not been fortunate enough to get a high level of formal education. They were people who believed in what they were doing. They believed in the education system and believed that children should have a right to it.
genteel is the word to describe Mother. She came from an uneducated family that was not as economically well off as Daddy's family. However, her father was always working to get one step ahead. When Mother, in her second year of teaching, had a first grade class, and there were 96 kids in that one first grade class, but everybody didn't come to school every day because many of the kids lived so far away that they were not able to get there. They were definitely too small to walk. A down-to-earth man who was willing to live the way that the people he worked with lived. And yet, he was a man of stature, a man one had to respect.
As a minister, he practiced, I think, a very practical brand of religion. And that brand was, you don't wait out here for God to do something for you. He gave you a brain, go do it for yourself.
The only place you could go for a large meeting was the church. You got together on Sunday, you went on Sunday morning, and you stayed for Sunday school, and then the main service, and then missionary meeting, and then in many churches the women brought meals to church, so you had dinner there, and then you might have youth meeting after that, and so you literally were there all day on Sundays.
People of the community depended upon the church, not only for the religious aspects of their lives, but for all of the social aspects and the news aspects, because newspaper and radio did not carry African American news. So they depended upon the church because when they went, they would find out what other people are doing.
Most of the people were not educated, and the church was where they got their education. Daddy took this very seriously and literally, that he was a teacher of people. He was a shepherd. And I've been reading through his sermons. Every sermon has a story that's told, a message. He was not one of these people that preached about hell and damnation and saving your soul for the next life. He taught people how to live in the here and now in his Sunday sermons.
Wherever he felt that he saw an injustice, he was always on the side of the little man, so to speak, or the underdog.
In his pastoring, he tried to visit, to see every member at least once a month. When he would go to someone's home, if the man was plowing, Daddy walked the rows with the man. If they were picking cotton, Daddy picked bowls of cotton and put it in the bag. If they were pitching hay and there was a free pitchfork around, Daddy would pitch hay.
He really believed that a person's status in life should not determine whether they are treated justly. He did not believe in segregation, and he taught that in his classes. He preached that in his sermons. He talked that in his social conversation. It was a part of his whole personality and his whole life.
He believed in the equality of man.
He was seeking justice for people.